The events of the film begin with a beautiful girl named Nina, who is packing her things because she is about to move to a new house. She is holding a photo of herself with her father when she was young, taken during a car race. Nina leaves the photo behind, but comes back to take it with her. On the way, Nina talks to her mother, and through their conversation, we learn that Nina will be living with her stepfather, Emmanuel, a rich man who saved Nina's mother from poverty after her divorce from her abusive, alcoholic ex-husband. Nina is unhappy about moving to a new city because she doesn't want to leave her friends and her boyfriend behind. Nina arrives at Emmanuel's mansion, where he greets his wife and welcomes Nina, who seems indifferent toward him. As she enters the luxurious manor, Nina realizes that her mother's new wealth is due to Emmanuel. Her mother takes her to a room with a sea view and tells her that she has the right to live there like Emmanuel's son, Nicholas. After her mother leaves, Nina looks at the photo of her and her father, clearly affected by it. She goes out onto the balcony and sees Nicholas by chance. Suddenly, Nina receives a phone call from her friend, who tells her how lucky she is to have a rich stepfather and that she will inherit half of his fortune. But Nina replies that she doesn't like the life of spoiled rich people. Nicholas suddenly appears, and remember, he is Nina's stepson, so he is essentially her half-brother. He orders his fierce dog to scare Nina, then tells her to stay calm. Nina gets angry and storms into his room. That evening, Nina joins her mother, Emmanuel, and Nicholas for a family dinner. In the car, Nina looks at photos of her boyfriend and sends him a message asking him to call her when he gets it. Nicholas drives past her in his car, glancing at her admiringly. At the dinner table, Emmanuel talks about Nicholas, praising his skills as a chauffeur, his success in law school, and his bright future. Nina responds by sarcastically remarking that Nicholas could work in her father's business, as he is clearly a failure in other areas. She decides to leave, and Emmanuel asks Nicholas to take her home. Nicholas drives recklessly, causing Nina to criticize him for his arrogant driving, but Nicholas mocks her and tells her it's clear his mother tolerates his actions because she loves him. Nina retorts, saying he doesn't understand what motherly love is. Annoyed by her words, Nicholas stops the car midway and demands Nina get out, leaving her stranded. Nina's phone battery dies, and luckily, one of Nicholas's friends arrives and offers to take her to a party with other rich young people. At the party, Nicholas's friend points him out to Nina, and she seems jealous when she sees Nicholas surrounded by girls who are clearly attracted to him. Nicholas notices Nina and asks how she got to the party, but she responds that she will tell her father about his inappropriate behavior. Nicholas warns her to stay out of his way and leaves. Afterward, a girl named Gina introduces herself to Nina and suggests they have some fun. She mentions that Nicholas considers Nina his illegitimate sister. Nina, feeling out of place, starts drinking wine and casting jealous glances at Nicholas. Later, Nicholas notices Nina is drunk and decides to take her home. Upon arrival, he carries her to his room, leaving her there as she dreams of childhood memories with her mother, who tried to hide her in the closet from Nina's abusive father. The next morning, Nina is sitting with Gina on the beach when she spots Nicholas, who is surfing. He attracts attention from the other girls, and Nina watches him with curiosity. That evening, Nicholas takes part in a car race for the rich, with Ronnie, his rival, challenging him. As Nicholas spots Nina from a distance, he becomes distracted by her beauty, which causes him to miss the start of the race. He tries to catch up but becomes jealous when he sees Nina talking to another young man. Nina, who is watching the race with Gina and Leon, sees Nicholas's rival's car break down at the last corner, allowing Nicholas to win. Everyone celebrates his victory. Nina, in the meantime, sees photos of her boyfriend cheating on her with her best friend. Angry, she starts drinking and dancing. Nicholas, feeling jealous, approaches Nina and scolds her for disrespecting him as her brother. Nina retorts that she only danced with the young man to take revenge on her cheating boyfriend. Nicholas then suggests that Nina send a photo of herself with him, rather than with the other guy. Surprised but intrigued, Nina agrees. Nicholas asks her to stay in the race car and wait for Gina. While in the car, Nina, impressed by its design, sits in the driver's seat. Ronnie, mistaking the car for Nicholas's rival, parks next to it and urges Nina to enter the race, telling her that Nicholas will lose if she doesn't. He promises that she'll have a 5-second head start. Nina takes advantage of the opportunity, confidently entering the race and quickly proving her skills behind the wheel. As she speeds ahead, Ronnie tries to interfere by rubbing his car against hers, but Nina stands her ground and defeats him, leaving him humiliated. Nina gets out of the car, and everyone celebrates her victory. Nicholas, however, is furious at her for causing him to lose. Ronnie demands Nicholas hand over the car keys, as it was supposed to be a race between him and Nicholas. Nicholas, begrudgingly, gives up the keys, and Ronnie curses Nina for defeating him. Nicholas fights violently with Ronnie to defend Nina, who collapses in fear, remembering painful childhood memories of her father beating her mother. Gina takes Nina to the car, and Nicholas joins them with his friend. They quickly leave the scene. The next morning, Nina wakes up and is shocked to find a letter from a stranger cursing her. She asks Gina to look at the letter. Meanwhile, Nicholas is sleeping on the beach. Nina's mother is speaking with her husband, Emmanuel, about a dress she'd like to wear for a special occasion. She asks him why he helped her. Emmanuel replies that he fell in love with her at first sight and decided to marry her, not just to save her from poverty. We then return to Nicholas, who is spending time with his little sister, Maggie, from his mother's previous marriage. Nicholas cares for Maggie, who is diabetic. That night, Nicholas comes home and watches an action scene from an Indian film with Nina. He comments on how difficult the car stunts in the film look, but Nina disagrees, saying the moves are easy. She tries to explain how to perform them. Nicholas tells her he spent the day with someone he cares about, referring to Maggie, though Nina doesn't realize he means his sister. The next morning, Nina is washing the car when she is surprised to see her ex-boyfriend, accompanied by her mother. It becomes clear that Nina's mother is concerned about Nina's relationship with Nicholas and is trying to rekindle Nina's romance with her ex, seeing Nicholas only as her brother. Nina quickly seeks Nicholas's help, explaining that she sent a photo with him to her ex-boyfriend and doesn't want it to cause a scandal. Nicholas teases her ex when he tries to talk to her, but Nina ignores him. Later, Nicholas mocks Nina and drags her into the pool. Afterward, Nina receives a bouquet of roses from her mother with a threatening note. She confronts her ex about the note, but he denies knowing anything about it. Meanwhile, an unknown person is seen speaking with Ronnie, who is beaten by Nina in the car race. The next morning, while the family is having lunch, Nina receives another threatening letter, but still doesn't know the identity of the person behind it. After breakfast, Nina is in the car with Nicholas and his friends. Mario asks how she learned to drive professionally, and another girl interrupts, saying Nina learned from her father, a famous race car driver. Mario asks where Nina's father is, and she simply replies, "He's gone." Later, Nicholas takes Nina to a street fight, where Nina expresses fear. Nicholas reassures her, saying he enjoys the fights because they allow him to release his anger. He enters the ring, and Nina can't bear to watch the violence due to her traumatic past with her abusive father. Mario tries to comfort her, but Nicholas angrily beats him and tries to drive him away. Nina, terrified, asks Nicholas to stay away, as she doesn't like violent people, including him and her father. Several days later, Nicholas is seen running toward the sea, attempting to become a better person and find peace because of his feelings for Nina, even though he believes it's wrong to fall in love with someone he considers his sister. One day, Emmanuel tells Nicholas he needs information about Nina's real father. Nicholas reveals that Nina's father had tried to eliminate her when she was young, relying on violence to solve problems. He also mentions that Nina's father has been out of prison for just 2 weeks after being jailed due to Nina's testimony. Emmanuel asks Nicholas to look into the case, as Nicholas is studying law, and tells him that Nina's father is dangerous and should be returned to prison. That night, an unknown person, who had previously appeared with Ronnie, is seen sitting in a car outside a house. Nina is inside, attending a party with her friends. Later, Nina leaves the house drunk with her friends. Nicholas arrives to pick her up, but Nina goes back inside to retrieve her jacket. Nicholas's girlfriend plays a prank on Nina, locking her in a closet, which causes Nina to panic and remember a terrifying moment from her childhood when her father locked her in a safe. Nicholas arrives just in time to rescue Nina and takes her home. Nicholas stays with Nina all night, as she has been feeling increasingly scared. The next morning, Emmanuel sees Nicholas sleeping in Nina's room and realizes the strong bond between his son and daughter-in-law. Later, Nicholas visits his little sister, Maggie, in the hospital with Nina. Nina learns that Nicholas participates in street fighting to raise money for Maggie's treatment because her wealthy father refuses to cover the costs. That night, Nicholas and Nina leave the hospital and spend a romantic evening on the beach, confessing their love for each other. On the way back, Nicholas stops to buy something, and Ronnie suddenly appears, kidnapping Nina and quickly driving away. Nicholas returns to the scene, but Nina is already gone. He goes home and informs his father and Nina's mother of the situation. An investigator discovers through surveillance footage that Ronnie is Nina's kidnapper. As the investigation continues, Nina's real father makes an appearance and reveals that he was behind the kidnapping. He calls Nina's mother and demands a $1 million ransom for Nina's release. Emmanuel and Nina's mother go to the location where the ransom is supposed to be exchanged. Nina's mother is certain that Nina's real father doesn't want money. He is only trying to scare and torment Nina. Indeed, Nina's real father is watching the scene from a tablet. Meanwhile, Nicholas is in the car with a detective, talking about Ronnie and how Ronnie took his red car. Nicholas remembers that the car has a tracking device, allowing them to locate him. However, Nina's real father learns about the plan and decides to escape. A thrilling chase ensues, with Nicholas trying to catch up. Eventually, Nina's father forces Nina to drive the car, aiming to shoot Nicholas and the detective. The chase continues until they reach a dead end. Nina's father raises a gun at her, demanding she ram Nicholas's car. However, Nicholas and Nina share a deep, telepathic look, and she understands exactly what he wants. The two move the car forward and perform the spinning moves Nina saw earlier. The detective shoots Nina's real father, and the plan succeeds. Nina's mother is relieved that her ex-husband's life is over. In the final scenes, Nina's mother kisses her daughter, and Emmanuel kisses Nicholas in an emotional moment. Nina and Nicholas, who have fallen deeply in love, realize that their bond goes beyond sibling ties. At the end of the film, Nina's mother asks Emmanuel for a divorce so that Nina can marry Nicholas, who has transformed from a violent young man into someone capable of love.